Hello and welcome to Baiju's Exam Prep IAS. Before we begin today's daily quiz, an important announcement that many of you have been waiting for. The Baiju's Exam Prep IAS Target Prelims 2022 course is back once again. We did this course last year also on YouTube where lakhs of aspirants like yourself took advantage and successfully cleared the examination with the help of this course. This course again is going live on 30th of April 2022. Every single evening you will have a couple of hours of class from 7:30 to 9:30 where the entire syllabus of the prelims examination along with special focus on the current affairs of the last 365 days will be covered here. If you have still not subscribed to the YouTube channel of Baiju's IAS, please do it right away so that you can take advantage of this course and join us every day starting 30th of April from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Now let's begin today's daily quiz with question number 1. Consider the following statements with regards to the provisions of the 91st Amendment to the Indian Constitution. Number 1. The total number of ministers, including the Chief Minister in the Council of Ministers in a state, shall not exceed 15% of the total strength of Legislative Assembly of that state, provided that the number of ministers, including the CM in a state, shall not be less than 12. Second, the Supreme Court had ruled in 2008 that there is no violation of the law if Council of Ministers has less than the lower limit because the act was enacted to put a cap on the huge expenditure incurred by the states because of the jumbo cabinets. You have to choose the correct statements out of the given two. The correct answer here is C. Both the given statements are correct. As you know, 91st Constitutional Amendment put a limit on the maximum number of Council of Ministers that there can be at the central level and at the state level. Although there are certain states which are smaller in size which are exception to this rule, but generally the first statement applies to most of the states. The second statement is also true. The Supreme Court had said that the purpose of bringing this law was to curtail on the huge expenditures that are being made at the state level, and that is why if a state government chooses to have less than 12 ministers, that would not be a violation of this law. The reason why we are discussing this question is because of a very interesting development that had happened in Goa. That is, Pratap Singh Rane, who is a 6-time Chief Minister of Goa and has been an MLA for 50 years, has been given a position of lifetime cabinet minister in the state of Goa. Now, there is no official position which says that you can be a lifetime cabinet minister, but this is just an honor that has been conferred upon Pratap Singh Rane. And because it does not have any legal backing, that is why a PIL has been admitted in the High Court of Bombay, in which it has been contested that Goa has a 12-member cabinet and the cabinet status on Pratap Singh Rane makes him the 13th member, which goes against the 15% limit that has been imposed by the 91st Constitution Amendment. And that is why it has been in the news. The PIL also says that this goes against the entire idea of the 91st Amendment because it increases the expenditure on the state government. It says that because the person has been named as a cabinet minister for life means he would be entitled to a staff of 12 people, which would cost the government 90 lakh rupees every single year, and that is why this should be taken back. Next, question number 2. Vihangam, an internet-based portal, is related to which of the following fields or sectors? Defense, agriculture, mining, or aquaculture? The correct answer here is C, mining. This is an internet-based portal that was released a few months back specifically for the mining sector. This portal has been integrated with a remotely piloted aircraft system, and the system will enable real-time transmission of aerial video of the mining activities from the mines so that authorized personnel can have a look and keep a check on these mining activities across the country. The pilot project of this particular portal was with the Mahanadi Coalfields Limited. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the Mahanadi coalfields specifically are in the news, just like many other coalfields across the country because of the shortage of coal that is being seen across the country right now. The Odisha High Court has directed the Ministries of Power, Coal, Mines and the Chairman of the Railway Board to ensure that the crisis of coal supply should be resolved to the National Aluminium Company within the next 24 hours. Most of the coal to NALCO is supplied by Mahanadi Coalfields Limited, that is MCL, and that is why it is in the news. Next, question number 3. Consider the following statements with regards to the Indus Water Treaty. Number 1. India has been given the right to generate hydroelectricity through the run of the river projects on the western rivers. subject to specific criteria for design and operation, is unrestricted. Second, the Indus Water Treaty was signed by the then Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and then Pakistani President Ayub Khan. Third, Annexure C of the treaty allows India certain agricultural uses, while Annexure D allows it to build run of the river hydropower projects, meaning projects that do not require live storage of water on the western rivers. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is D. All these three given statements are correct. As you know, the Indus Water Treaty divides the six rivers, that is Indus and its five tributaries, between India and Pakistan. While India has been given complete control of Ravi, Beas, and the Satluj rivers, Pakistan, on the other hand, has been given control of the western rivers, which are Indus, Chenab, and Jhelum. Along with this, India was given the power to make use of the water of these rivers in a non consumptive manner, that is, for agriculture or for run of the river dams to produce electricity without consuming the water. The reason why it is in the news is because the Prime Minister, on his recent visit to Kashmir, laid the foundation stone for the Rattle and Kwar hydroelectric project on the Chenab River. And as it always happens whenever India starts such a project on the western rivers, Pakistan starts objecting to it without even going into any details, and this is what has happened once again. Next, question number 4. The E2025 initiative of the WHO is aimed at tackling the spread of which of the following diseases? Tuberculosis, malaria, diabetes, or chikungunya? The correct answer here is B. This project specifically is aimed to curtail the spread of malaria. So the history is that in 2017, the WHO actually launched the E2020 initiative. The idea was to support a group of nations to achieve zero indigenous cases of malaria by 2020. Now, building on the success of E2020 program, the WHO actually extended it to E2025. That means a new group of 25 countries will now be held by the WHO to control the spread of malaria within the next 5 years, starting from 2020. Do remember, India is not a part of these 25 nations which are covered under the E2025 initiative. The E2020 initiative, on the other hand, had 21 nations, and the 2025 initiative will have 25 nations. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the health minister made a statement that India has witnessed a fall of over 86% in malaria cases from 2015 to 2021, which is a great news for the entire country. Next, we have a previous year question from 2020. The Siachen Glacier is situated to the east of Aksai Chin, east of Leh, north of Gilgit, or north of the Nubra Valley. You have to identify the location of the Siachen Glacier that has always been in the news because of India-Pakistan conflict. The correct answer to this question is D. It is to the north of the Nubra Valley. If you have seen the map that tells you the location of the Siachen Glacier, that is somewhere here, you will be easily able to identify that it is towards the north of the Nubra Valley. This is the Nubra River. As you can see, this falls towards the west of Aksai Chin and not towards the east. This is the Gilgit area, and that is why it falls towards the east of the Gilgit area and not towards the north. So the correct answer here is D, that is, it is towards the north of the Nubra Valley. Now, I am sure you would have read a lot about the Siachen Glacier, the conflict between India and Pakistan, Operation Meghdoot, etc. But the question here was specifically about the location. So it's also important to read the map and understand the location of these important places. Next, we have a fact of the day, and today we will be discussing about the appointment of vice chancellors in the state universities, specifically with respect to what is happening in the state of Tamil Nadu right now. Now, what has happened is that the Tamil Nadu Assembly has passed two bills to transfer the governor's power to appoint the vice chancellors of 13 state universities to the state government. So the state government is saying that we will appoint the vice chancellors in the state universities and not the governor. The reason why the state government of Tamil Nadu has passed this bill is they are saying that whenever we send a recommendation to the governor to appoint someone as a vice chancellor, he or she usually rejects it. And that is why we are transferring this power to ourselves. They are also saying that we are not the first state to do this. Maharashtra and West Bengal have also transferred the power to their governments respectively in the past. In official terms, the bill says that every appointment of the vice chancellor shall be made by the government from out of a panel of 3 names recommended by a search cum selection committee. As of now, The governor, because he is a chancellor of the state universities, has the power to pick up a vice chancellor from the shortlisted names. The article tells you that Maharashtra government did this in 2016 while the West Bengal government did the same in 2019. This effort was also made by the Kerala and Odisha governments. However, they were not able to pass this bill due to some circumstances. As we discussed, the root of the problem is that as per the governments, the governors don't accept the recommendations when it comes to the appointment of the vice chancellors, and they go ahead with their own choice, which goes against the Constitution of India, because a governor does not have a discretionary power in that regard. An important role is also played here by the UGC, that is the University Grants Commission. Now, the UGC has the role to set standards, and even in the case of appointments of universities and colleges, they will look into the eligibility criteria of people at the highest positions. And how it really works in India is that in order for the universities to get funding from the government on a regular basis, they have to abide by whatever regulations are set by the UGC. And that is where the central government controls a lot of power. Despite education being a subject in the concurrent list, it is the UGC and the central government that can run these institutions according to their own will. And that is why the state governments, especially in West Bengal, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, which are ruled by the opposition parties to the BJP, are not happy with this. Interestingly, Gujarat, ever since 1949, has had a law that the vice chancellor shall be appointed by the state government from amongst the three persons recommended by a search cum selection committee. So almost the same language as is being used in the Tamil Nadu bill, and that is why many people are saying that the central government should not oppose this because one of their own ruled states have the same provision. This is it about today's video. Thank you so much for watching.